Alrighty, guys, this is Jim Collins. Welcome to another episode of Journey to the Pit. I have our special guest tonight, Mr. Tyler Easterling, which has been invited. We're just waiting for him to join on in. But before we join in, we'll always go over our disclaimer, which is all information discussed in this video is for educational, historical, and entertainment purposes only. None of this information joined in right now. Guys, just let me know if y'all guys can hear us. Facebook is adding him. I see him blinking up top. It's going to be a really good interview tonight, guys. We got some great topics. I don't know if y'all can see it, but it looks like Facebook is adding him now. It's just blinking add. He hasn't came in yet. Guys, I'm sorry about last week. We didn't have an episode, but we're here this week. Hey, Mr. Tyler, how you doing today? Tyler, can you hear me? Tyler, can you hear me? Sounds good on my end. We just got to get Tyler's maybe connection is a little. He relocated out to the barn, but connection might not be as good. I know you guys can hear me loud and clear. Tyler, can you hear me? Give us a minute so he can get logged in. Hold on. Tyler, can you hear me? Hawaii. Josh Dukes, Rick Hurst. We got everybody checking on in. Mr. Ernie. Tyler, can you hear me? Then we might have a little technical difficulty on this sound on Tyler's end, but just bear with us, man. We'll get this thing rolling. Tyler, I think he might have to go back into the house. Kentucky, hey, Miss Tamer, how you doing? Darcy, we got people coming from in all over. Oh, Mexico. We got everybody coming in from all over. Guys, just give us a second. It looks like Tyler is our special guest tonight. Video was froze up. I think he might have a little issues with his internet connection, but you know, this is going to be a really, really good show tonight, as always. And let's just see if we can get him in here. Wow. His internet connection is really bad. So we definitely going to have it tonight. He might just have to move to a different location. We did a test run on it and it went pretty good, but I don't think he was in where he's at now. When we did the test, he wanted to come outside because there was some things that we wanted to talk about that's located inside his barn. So we're trying to give y'all guys a little extra piece to go along with the interview, but I don't know if we're gonna be able to make that happen just due to the fact it doesn't look like his internet connection is really good in there. So we're gonna wait for him to try to get on back in here. But it's going to be a great Louisiana, Texas. We got guys coming in from all over. West Virginia. Guys, like I said, just give us a second, see if we can get Tyler back in here again. He moved out to the barn because he had some stuff he wanted to talk about with the biddies and some of the Hawaii, some of the different types of vitamins and supplements and stuff like that he gives to the biddies. So he just wanted to kind of go out there to show y'all. Oklahoma wanted to show y'all guys that stuff, which I thought would be great, but we might not be able to do it. Maybe he's bringing his stuff from the barn back into the house. Hopefully, guys, it'll be another great interview. Hey, Carlos, guys, just give us a second. Like I say, he just kind of wanted to do something spontaneous as far as going out to the barn. He said he had some things out there he wanted to show or talk about tonight on the interview. But his, like I said, his internet connection in the house was excellent. But I think out where his supplements and stuff is at, the internet connection is not that far. Okay, here we go. He's trying to check back in right now. All right, it looks like we added. He might have to go back up into the house. Tyler.
What's going on, buddy?
Hey, brother, listen, I know that internet connection looked like it froze up a little bit.
Yeah, something happened to it.
Yeah. All right, well, guys, I've been talking, Tyler, while we've been trying to figure out this thing, but like I always do, I always say the disclaimer again when our special guests come on, just to make sure that everybody is clear that all information discussed on this interview today is for historical, educational, entertainment purposes only. None of this information is intended for any illegal purposes, and all opinions are respective of the individual. So now we can get on to it. Guys, our special guest tonight, if y'all clicked and followed in on our event post, this is Tyler Easterling. And a lot of y'all guys know him. But if y'all don't know him, y'all know his family. And especially if you've been in this game or this heritage for a minute. So Tyler, man, let's go ahead and get started, man. If you can always start, like I always ask each guest, how did you start and how old were you when you got into these game fowl?
Well, I'm a third generation rooster man cocker. So I was born and raised into it. My granddad done it, started back I would have to say in the 60s, and then brought my dad and Bobby into it, and then I was born into it. I've been around chickens since I was in diapers walking around, man.
So listen, man, we're going to get to it, but we also have some questions that a few of the guys had actually posted in the event. So we'll get to those questions, man. But first thing, obviously, like you say, you've been a third generation rooster man. What bloodline did you guys start off with?
Well, the first ones I would say Dad and Bobby had would be the Democrats and the Clarets. And then later on, they acquired the Bruners and the Grays and the Jacobs.
Okay. So let's start from the beginning then. Tell us a little bit about the Democrats, because that's one of the questions that one of the viewers had posted that he wanted to know. What can you tell us about the Democrats?
Well, I know that Blondie won a bunch with them.
Okay.
We won a bunch with them. The original breed, they were 5/8 Law and Cook hatch and 3/8 Griffin Claret.
Okay.
100% straight comb, green and yellow legged. They're powerhouse chickens. And they dodge really well and they cut really well.
Uh-huh.
But power, them's the strongest chickens I've ever seen.
Wow.
The Democrats.
The Democrats.
The Clarets are more of a dodge and cut, accurate.
Right. So tell me this, Tyler. So y'all started off with the Democrats. Y'all kind of moved along. What type or what made y'all guys kind of feel as though did y'all add a little something, take a little something, or totally switch bloods?
Well, we didn't switch. We just, I would say, added.
Okay.
We still got Democrats and Clarets. We still breed them. Most of the time, like this year and years before, we've been breeding a lot of Bruner Clarets and Bruner Democrats.
Okay.
They've done real good for us in Mexico.
Okay. So tell me this, Tyler. What's the difference in those type of birds that you have now, the Bruners versus the Democrats?
Well, I'd say the Bruners, they give you a little bit more of athleticism.
Okay. And
the Bruners, they're the most accurate chickens that I've ever seen.
Wow.
Personally, when they hit them, they know what they're doing.
Right. So tell me this.
That's why we keep them.
So how did y'all come up with the Bruners? Obviously, it's based off the Democrats.
Well, we got them from two different people. Burl Chambers was the first one Dad got them from.
Okay.
And Larry Morris is the second one that we got them from.
Okay.
And if you go back to the original story, Burl got his Bruners from Larry.
Oh, okay.
But he went his way and Burl went his way.
Right.
And then when we acquired both of the bloodlines, we mixed them together, selective breeding process.
Right.
And that's what, we went our own direction with them.
That's right. That's right. So Tyler, tell me this. How long did it take y'all guys once y'all start adding those two lines in to kind of get to where y'all at? So, well, put it this way, get to where you were satisfied with the results.
Well, you go back with that before I was born.
Okay.
Burl bred Bruner Grays and Jacobs Grays.
Okay.
And he's been winning with them for
decades.
Yeah, 40 years,
Right, right.
So when we got the gray blood that we got, and we got the Bruners, and later on with the Jacobs High Toppers,
okay,
we started mixing that in there with the gray blood, and it was a niche in that, and we liked it, and that's what we kept on going with it.
Okay, so Tyler, tell me this, and I think a lot of people watching definitely want to know. Everybody's not successful, not just bringing in different lines, different bloodlines, but you can take two people, they can bring in birds from the same place, do the same type of breeding, and get different results. What do you think is one of the keys, man, that got y'all guys on a successful track when y'all did bring it in? Was it selection? Was it, what was it?
I would say selection. And once you have a bloodline, whether it's Bruners, Hatches, whatever you got, whatever you liked and you went out and purchased or got from a friend, when you get the bloodline, then you look for what me and Dad and Bobby call it is a producer. You could have 10 brothers, like 10 pure Bruner stags out there, maybe just one or two of them are going to be your producing roosters, which say above the 70 percentile. That's what we look for. And I think that's what has kept us as competitive as we are today, is just selection and brood fowl.
So tell me this, Tyler, when you say selection, we're going to talk about the hens and the cocks, but let's talk about the hens first. What type of things do you look for in a brood hen?
Well, first of all, you want a good station. Like our grays, they're medium stationed at best.
Okay.
We hardly ever have a real tall one.
Okay.
So if we're breeding, say you want to breed gray hens, we look for good medium station, tall as we can get them.
Okay.
Good body.
Okay.
Good built breast. All the way back, straight all the way back.
Straight all the way back.
Where she's holding her tail at.
Okay.
The way she's acting in the pen, stuff like that. And another thing, like with any pure stuff that we breed, I might not have but 6 gray hens in a pen per brood pen. But most of it is out of a single mated, one rooster, one hen. That was the mama, that was the daddy, and they all look the same. I like them. I like a uniform set of hens.
Uniform set of hens. So you do single mating also, right?
On all our pure stuffs, the majority of it, I may have 2 or 3 per pen, but all of them come out of a single mated pen.
All of them come out. So they all hatch sisters.
That's right.
Okay. I got you. So let's just go over that one more time. And guys, if your viewers just coming in, I know when we first started out, we only had about 60 people. We got over 100 right now. Our special guest tonight is Tyler Easterling from Swiftcreek Kennels. Farm. I'm thinking of something, a darn friend of mine's. Swiftcreek. What we're talking about right now is what he considers or what things he look for when he is making his selection. And we're talking about hens right now. So he kind of ran down exactly the type of things that he liked to see in his hens to put in his breeding program. And also, like he said, if he do have a pen that had, 3 or 4 hens in it, all of those hens is going to be hatched sisters. They all came out of a single bred, a single mate pen. Okay, Tyler, that's good. The light is a lot better now.
Yeah, I stepped inside the door here trying to keep service.
All righty. So, like I said, that's what we just talked about. Then on the hen side, he talked about, you know, what criteria he used to make his selection on the hen side. So let's talk about the brood cock. What are the type of things that you look for in a brood cock?
Well, you go back to some of the same things as your hens. You want a good station rooster. You want him to be built good. And, you know, a lot of times we look for tail placement.
Okay, that's good.
We don't like to breed them too high-tailed or too low-tailed. We kind of like a medium, hold itself good. And we don't breed a real wide-back stuff.
Okay.
You know, I like my hand to be over, you know,
over the
like
back.
this. That's right.
Oh, so you don't breed them little Sherman tanks?
No.
Okay.
Now I want a long-bodied rooster.
You want a long-bodied
rooster.
Okay. Okay. So Tyler, tell me something. What do you think is the pros and cons of the long body and the wide body? So we all know.
Well, a wide-bodied rooster, I'd say, you're gonna get clumsy faster.
Okay.
And a long-bodied rooster, a lot of times they have more power.
Okay.
And another thing that we look for in a brood cock is where their legs sit.
That's
I don't want them way back towards his tail, and you don't want them way up front towards his head. I like a rooster. Dad, Bobby, we all when we pick them, we want them standing straight up underneath them.
Straight up underneath them. So these are a couple of things just to recap, guys. Bobby and them, you know, his whole family, as far as Bobby and Billy and Tyler, all y'all guys are pretty much putting it all together out there, looking at certain things and that kind of stuff. So do y'all think, would you say y'all kind of do a collective type of judgment call on certain things? Or, because I heard you pretty good at selection, Tyler.
Well, yeah, we do, and sometimes we don't. You know, if Dad likes a rooster and he wants to breed him, he breeds him. If I like something, I want to breed him, we breed him. Okay. You know, Bobby does the same thing. It's a one good thing about us is we're a group. Right. You know, we're a team, no matter what. Bobby's doing this, or I'm doing that, or Dad's doing that. It's all on the same farm.
That's right. That's right.
If it works, it works, and if it don't, we try again.
I hear that. I hear that. So what I do want to talk about in some details, which I think is great, is you talked about a couple different. You talked about the leg placement, you know, the width of the back, you know, the length of the body, also the placement of the tail. So we got, you like a long body, you like legs to sit in the center, you like medium station, you don't like a wide back, you like your hand to be able to go over the back, and then also you like a medium placed tail.
That's right. And see, one thing now with the Bruners and the Jacobs is they're high station.
Okay.
When you cross them to the grays, that's what makes them white and yellow-legged roosters tall. You know, the Bruners and the Jacobs are going to put the station on them.
Oh, gotcha.
So if we're breeding Bruners or Jacobs, you know, the cock or the hen,
right?
You want a good high station.
Got you. So Tyler, tell me this: what is the size, typical size of your cocks?
Well, we've been trying to breed, especially for Mexico, because you got to have the big weights.
Okay.
You know, you got to have I think it's a 5'2", a 5'5", and a 5'7", right around in there somewhere on the last day in those intercontinentals. And so we've been trying to breed some bigger roosters, but no, we've had them. I can remember when our little Bruner Grays didn't, 4'6" to 4'15", 4'12", and if I could have it my way, that's all I want.
Wow. Okay, I got you. So you really don't like them real big monsters, huh? It's a whole different animal, huh?
Yeah.
That's a lot to wrestle with.
That's right. And see, a lot of the roosters that Tony Jr. shows in Mexico, they don't weigh over 4'14".
Oh, they don't, huh?
Because, the smaller ones, you can't use them in Mexico. You got to be above 4'12", or 4'12" or 4'10".
Okay. Okay. So Tyler, tell me this. So we pretty much got, and I think that a lot of guys was wanting to know that, because like I said, you're known to be a very good selector. You know, they kind of wanted to know what you look for. So we pretty much got it, you know, we pretty much have it ran down from the, and you said you kind of look for the same thing on the hens as you do the cocks, correct? As far as the station, leg placement, tail placement, back size, you know, all of that, hot, medium station, all of that, right?
That's right.
How about tell me this, Tyler? How about spur placement? You know, I hear guys saying they like low spurs and high spurs. What do you feel about that?
Well, to be honest with you, I've never paid it much attention. Now, one thing with the legs that we do look for, we don't want a rooster's got legs this big around.
Okay. You don't want them big old canes, them big sugar canes.
No. You know, we like them a medium-sized leg, but as far as spur placement, no, or spur color,
right?
You know, a bunch of people say, you know, black spurs, they more accurate than the others,
right?
You
but
know,
you haven't really experienced that. Okay. No. Well. And again, like I say, that's a lot of people will want to know, you know, what you look for. So tell me this. Okay, so we went over, you know, the lines, the bloodlines, how y'all guys got started. I didn't really get a clear answer. Like when you start to infuse the Bruner, you know, with Democrats, correct? Was it Democrats?
Well, when they started that, and that's you talking way before my time.
Okay, no.
But now it was they crossed it in, and when they got the Grays, they started using the Grays and the Democrats and stuff like that. But now you talking
decades ago.
90s. Yeah.
Okay, decades ago. Okay. All right. Yeah, and like I said, I'm just trying to get, because I have received a lot of messages, and that's what a lot of guys wanted to know, a lot of details about how y'all, because in Mexico, y'all guys are extremely successful with whatever formula that y'all had came up with. And it's been very consistent. That's the thing. It ain't been like no, you know, hit and miss. It's been very consistent over a long period of time. And again, that's why some of the guys were just very interested in, you know, whatever mix they came up with. It's been lasting a long time. So Tyler, let's get into the breeding aspect. So we know what we're doing in the pens, how you selecting the brood cock, how you selecting the hens. You know, multiple hens. You want them all uniform. So let's start talking about weak breeding now. Do you use incubators or do you use natural hatch?
Well, we use incubators.
Okay.
Me and Dad, that's all we use. Now, if we let a hen set on them, we just wanted a setting, and they're pretty important.
Okay.
But most of the time, mine and Dad, me 99%, it's incubator hatched.
Incubator hatch. Yeah. Now, is there any particular reason, Tyler, for that?
Well, it's harder. You can produce more out of an incubator.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? You'd have to have, oh man, I don't even know how many hens to raise 300 or 400 stags.
That's right. That's exactly
right. That's the main reason we use it. That, and it's a lot easier. It's work, but it's a lot easier putting them in the brooder.
Mm-hmm.
You know, take them out of the incubator, put them in the brooder. Mm-hmm. You know, 3, 4, 5 weeks when the weather's right and they're ready, putting them outside and taking care of individual pens.
Right.
Than it is taking care of 100 hens scattered out everywhere. You know what I mean?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So now we talked about, you know, we got the incubator, they hatched, they're going to brooder. Why don't you just kind of give us a rundown of your program that you would say use for the first month?
Well, for the first 5 days, and we got on this, I'd say 4 or 5 years ago when we really started producing, you know, I'd say 200, 300 stags, because back, I'd say 2000, 2008, Louisiana was going and it was legal. We went twice a month and we had 50 barrels, and that was it.
Wow.
So when we really started mass producing is when you had to, you know, you're going to get something.
Right.
So for the first 5 days, and Bobby got us to doing this, we used the LS50.
Okay.
All right. And then anytime we give them anything, any kind of medicine, anything, we come back 2 days with a probiotic.
Okay. Any particular one? Any particular probiotic?
Well, we use a couple different ones. They have one that's called, you can get it at the feed store anywhere, I think.
Okay.
It's Probios.
Okay.
It's got a little blue scoop in it. One little scoop per gallon of water. Mix it up and give it to them.
Okay.
And then we use one, but you can't use it till a little later on. We get it from Tony Jr.
Okay.
It's a UVL product, and we mix it with soaked dog food and stuff like that. But we'll get to that in a minute.
Okay.
All right. Then after that, we give these beaties vitamins. I'm gonna say 3-4 days a week.
Okay.
You know, they're growing; they need them.
Mm-hmm.
So then, was at 21 days old, we start with Baycox.
Okay.
I think I got it. Hang on, let me hope I don't lose service. Having to stand over here by the door.
Okay.
All right, so here, see if I can put it in the picture. This is what we use for gut infections, coccidiosis, anything like that.
And Tyler, put it a little closer. Got you. Okay.
We start that at 21 days old.
Okay.
We run it for 48 hours, and we use 4 cc's per gallon of water.
4 cc's per gallon.
That's right. And that's for coccidiosis, any kind of gut infection, you know, anything like that he's picked up.
Okay.
All right. And then after that, we run the probiotics again for 2 more days.
Okay. So like after you say, after y'all do everything, anytime you give them anything, you always do 2 days of probiotics, correct?
That's right.
Okay.
All right. Hang on a second. And then I start at 30 days old, and I worm them. And this is another UVL product here.
Okay.
If you can see it.
All right. And what's the name of that? Oh, I see it.
I call it Desperate Hydro.
Okay. Desperate Hydro. All right. That's another UVL product. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's the first wormer that you use on them, correct?
That's right.
That's the first wormer.
We use it. It's 4 cc's per gallon for 3 days.
Okay.
And then you come back with the probiotics and vitamins. And here I got a pack of vitamins. That's the vitamins we use.
Okay. That's the name. And Tyler, just tell us what the name of it also.
It's Vitatherm.
Vitatherm. Is that another Tony Jr. product?
Yeah, it's UVL.
Okay.
And then after that, and see, what makes it so bad is like us, you know, you only have 5 or 6 hens to the pen. You can only get so many eggs before they're done laying.
Right.
So we start really early. You know, we run the lights and all that stuff. So we might have to hold our first couple of sets of beaties in the brooder longer.
Okay.
So if we do, we have some up here in the barn.
Okay.
They're 8 foot long, 3 foot wide, and 4 foot tall.
Mm-hmm.
We have the little red lights in them. So then we'll move them up there for a couple weeks till the weather straightens out.
Okay.
All right. So then we try to get them out our best at 4 weeks.
All right.
3 to 4 weeks is the best time to get them out. But if the weather don't permit, you know, you can't. So anyway, we can take 55-gallon plastic drums.
Okay.
Cut them directly in half. All right. You take a 2x4. You fit it inside the drum. You know, build your platform. And we put the little beady wire on it.
So Tyler, tell me this: when you say cut them in half long ways or crossways?
Long ways.
Long ways.
Okay. Straight up and down. Cut it long ways.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then you build your floor to fit the barrel.
Okay.
All right. And when you put the wire on it, and we take a 2x4 and raise it up in the back. Put 2 legs on it in the back, so you know you got airflow up under there at all times.
All right.
All right. We have these dog kennels they're 4 foot wide, 8 foot deep.
Okay.
5 foot tall.
Okay.
We take them and we wrap them with like a shade cloth.
Okay.
Piece of tin on top.
Okay.
We put that barrel center in the back, all the way to the back of the pen in the center.
Mm-hmm.
We try 40 to 45 babies per barrel.
Per barrel. Okay.
That's right.
Okay.
All right. When you put them in that barrel and you got the feed and water sitting right there,
right.
You leave the door locked for 3 days.
Okay.
After that, you open the door, keep the feed and water right there,
right.
in and out. We lock them and unlock them every day.
Wow. Wow. And that's kind of how y'all run them. So they actually inside the dog kennel, correct?
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Once you open the door, and then when they start growing like now, I got beaties everywhere, but they always go back to that pen. And then after you put them out, say 3 or 4 weeks,
right,
we put poles in them pens, like roost poles.
Okay.
We like a step ladder. We put
right.
4 or 5 in there.
Right.
And when you see a couple of them start getting on there during the day and stuff like that, take that barrel out, they'll all start roosting.
So Tyler, around what age is that, did you say?
I'm going to say 8 to 10 weeks.
8 to 10 weeks, okay.
They ought to be roosting on them poles, or some will migrate off and go in and start, getting in the smaller trees.
Right.
We've got 100 fruit trees planted in that field.
Wow.
So once they get big enough, they feel like they'll start roosting in the trees and the pens will be empty.
Got you.
But we keep the water and feed 24/7.
In the same place, pretty much there.
Yeah, once they get older and they're in and out of the pen really good and they're starting to migrate around.
Right.
We just take and we have them pens in rows.
Right.
One here, we go 40 foot and there'll be another row. And we just take water cups and run them down through there, and we have the feed hanging in the pen.
Got you. So tell me this, Tyler. So after a while, so you said about what age are they pretty much you start basically free ranging them, which you said they still will come back at the end of the night or whatever and come back to that barrel and that pen. But what age you pretty much open up that kennel door and kind of let them decide if they're going to be in the tree or if they're going to be inside here?
Well, once they start going in the tree, they should be, I'm going to say 10 weeks.
Okay.
Somewhere around there. Now, once you open the door and let them out, you do your best at 5 weeks.
At 5 weeks. I got you.
And you can put them out earlier once the weather straightens up. Now, when it gets, where it's staying 70, 80 degrees during the daytime, 60 at night.
Right.
Then you could put them out at 3 weeks old and start doing that.
Okay. So it kind of depends on the climate and where you
man.
all that kind of stuff.
A lot of stuff with chickens depends on how the weather is, especially here.
Exactly. So we got the program that you run them on as far as the vitamins, the medicine, the probiotics you start. Let's talk about what feed do you start them off with?
We use a regular starter grower.
Okay.
And then once we get them and we getting them, in the barrels and outside, we'll start mixing it, say 4 scoops to 1.
4 scoops to 1. Now, when you say 4 scoops to 1 scoop of what versus 4 scoops of what?
4 scoops of starter grower, and then just like a scratch feed, it's got a bunch of cracked corn and wheat and stuff in it. So they'll start learning to pick it up.
I got you.
And then like now, we're mixing it 2 to 1
on
the older stuff. Once they get, I'm going to say 5, 6 weeks old, you can start doing it 2 starter grower, 1 scratch.
So you kind of start to flip it, right?
That's right.
Okay.
And then you work that. As long as they're eating it good, you can change it a little bit, and then get them totally off the starter grower and go to like a yard feed.
A yard feed. And Tyler, what age do your guys try to have them on that yard feed? And I know a lot of things depend on the weather and a lot of other things, but if everything kind of go as planned, around what age are you trying to have them on that yard feed?
You're hoping for 3.5 months old.
Okay.
That you're not buying any more starter grower.
Gotcha.
For those older beaties.
Right.
Now the younger ones, you just try to, adjust it to what they're eating, and
that's right.
They might come off of it earlier, they might not.
That's right. That's right. So Tyler, tell me about this. And I know you talked about the soaked dog food. Is that where does that come in at?
Oh, we've been doing that for probably 3 weeks now. We start doing it once a week, and then we try to do it twice a week. But the thing about the dog food is, we mix dog food and scratch feed together, or scratch feed and lay in pellets. Sometimes it just depends.
Right.
But you can't give it to them too often.
Okay, and why is that?
They'll start wanting the dog food more than they want the corn. Yeah. So yeah, I got a couple years ago, I got to where, they like that dog food, so I'm just going to stock it to them. Then you had to quit giving them the dog food, so they'd go back and start eating the regular food. But they like it. And see, one good thing about the dog food, and I use several different products, but you can put vitamins in it.
Right.
Some people worm them in it. No, we don't do that. We worm them in the water till they get to age enough where we can start, worming them down their throat.
Right.
But there's a bunch of stuff you can do with it. I usually put vitamins or red cell. You can soak red cell in it, wheat germ oil, cod liver oil. Tony Jr.'s got a couple liquid vitamin products that we use. The UVL Twins, really good.
Right.
And, it'll put a good body on them.
It will,
it'll fatten them up, man.
It will. Okay.
And then they're getting all them vitamins and stuff. It does them a lot of good.
Does them a lot of good. So, and that's good that you said that, because I was going to kind of ask, what other stuff do you use to add to the dog food? So you pretty much went through all of it. So, do you give any of your older chickens dog food?
We do, especially when they're coming through the molt.
Okay.
We might get but a lot of times we use canned dog food.
Canned dog food?
Yeah, like the red Old Roy canned dog food.
Yeah.
No, we do that a lot, but now, like, once we soak it once a week, we'll run down through there and give them a spoonful. It's not going to hurt them. It does the same thing for them. But see, the babies are growing.
Right.
A 2-year-old cock, he's done growing. He's like me and you. He's old enough. Only thing he's going to do is get fatter.
That's right. That's right.
But when he's coming through the molt, you got to take care of A1 care.
A1 care.
Yeah. That's where all the, we'll get in that in a minute.
Right.
But we give it to them once a week during the molt.
Once a week during the molt. So with the canned dog food, you're not basically mixing. You guys just go through the yard, scoop, boom, a little teaspoon or something like that in they cups as y'all walking through the yard.
That's right.
Okay. I got you. And then you said the older birds, you pretty much, like I said, you start off worming inside of the water, but then you do get to a stage where y'all guys are not worming in the water anymore.
That's right.
Okay.
Well, and one thing, and worming in the water, especially on a young age, it's okay. Because they're getting it if you got them locked in the pen,
right,
and stuff like that.
Right.
But at an older age, when they're when they're just going everywhere, we might find them 1,600 feet down the dirt road or something. Sometime.
That's right. That's right.
So what we do is you can soak the dog food, regular feed or whatever. We'll set them dog pens back up throughout the yard.
Right.
And we'll throw some feed on the tin.
Okay.
We lay a piece of tin down in the pen and then put the feed on top of the pen.
Okay.
You get a bunch of them run in there, lock the door, and then we'll get them out and worm them one by one, turn them back loose.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's a good idea. So basically what you do is you lure them in. Like you said, if they're all down the dirt road and all over there by the lake and all that, back of the barn and all that, you say, I can't run over this whole farm catching these things. So I go ahead and set these dog pens back up, put 10 in there, some feed in there, let them get on back in there, and then you just let them out one at a time as you worm them.
That's right. See, when we do that, We'll worm them for the first time, vaccinate them for the pox, band them, turn them back loose.
I got you. And Tyler, what age is that? Would you say?
Probably around 4 months.
About 4 months?
Yeah.
Okay. About 4 months. Wow. Okay, so we done got the bitty care, the breeding, the worming regiment that you starting on. Tell me something. What type of wormer do you like?
Well, on the cocks, what we like best is the Valbazen.
Okay. And why is that?
Well, it gets all the worms.
Okay.
And it's not as rough on them.
It's not as rough. Okay.
That's right. Now, you can get the Filipino peels or the peels like Tony Jr. has. They're basically almost the same.
Right.
But it's a lot rougher on them because it takes everything.
It takes everything.
That's right. So when we do that, we'll do that one time a year.
Okay.
Right before they starting to get the slick feathers back and all that stuff, say like the cocks.
Right.
We'll worm them, no feed. All right, say like the green peel. This is what we do with the green peel.
Okay.
We'll worm them, no feed that day. Then the next day, we'll grind the feed, soak it in buttermilk and probiotics. And then we go rooster by rooster, feeding them, giving them all that good stuff back.
So basically with that green pill, you fast them for the day. They get the green pill. And the next day, you grind the feed and mix it with buttermilk and that probiotics, and they get that the next 2 days, correct? Or is it the next 1 day?
You can do it 2 days.
Right.
Just as long as they get it. And you don't have to do that. You could run the probiotics through their water.
Okay.
But we always like to give them the buttermilk and the probiotics for at least a day.
At least a day.
Because if you take everything out of them, what do they got left in them?
They don't have no good or bad bacteria. Everything out.
That's right. You gotta put it back in them. And that's just like go back to the babies. Every time we do something, they get the probiotics.
The probiotics. And Tyler, tell me something. Did y'all guys learn that system because y'all? And I'm pretty sure because you haven't been using the green pills for 30 years. So is it something that when y'all started to use the green pills or say the harsher, not just the green pills, but the harsher wormers, that y'all guys kind of seen how it was affecting the birds, or did y'all kind of know, okay, if this thing gonna strip them all out of them, we need to make sure we do that? Did y'all kind of learn that from experience by the result of how the birds acted after the worming, or did y'all already have that in mind? That's what the game plan was before y'all even gave them the wormer?
Well, a little bit of both.
Okay.
And when I was coming up, and I've done it before here in recent years.
Okay.
Once I got to the age where, we was all out there doing it, is if you take them, put them in a pen and lay tar paper down, you give this one this wormer, you give this one this wormer, all you got to do is look what's in the pen the next morning and you'll see it.
Got you.
And that's another thing with chickens is paying attention. Watching how they act every day, listening.
Right.
And if something's wrong with the rooster, more than likely he's trying to tell you. He'll act different. It's paying attention's has a lot to do in the rooster game.
No, that's exactly right, because the more you pay attention, the more you can learn. It's almost like a hunter can know what hound dog is out there, howling, and they could be a mile away from him. And he can just listen and say, oh, I know that's this dog, this dog, this dog, this dog, or they on them, they on that coon. I can hear it right now by the changing of the tone of their howl. And that's pretty much the same thing with the roosters. If you sit there long enough and you hear how they crow, you see how they drop, you see how they eat, you can tell if something changed. It got to be not so much something wrong, but you can tell a change if you're paying attention to their habits all the time.
That's right. And Dad, when I was growing up, Dad was the best at it.
Okay.
He'd say, they might, he'd hear him way over there. Well, you got a beady sick over there now. We better catch him, give him a shot.
Oh.
He was just real quick on it, and then you pick it up.
Right. Right.
And that's one thing that I've learned is that you better pay close attention. Yeah, very close attention.
So before we go on, and I see one of the guys asks, what is the dosage that you use on a valbazen?
We use 1 cc directly down the throat.
1 cc directly down the throat. Okay. Okay.
And we've tried it in the water on the older stuff, and it just doesn't do what it. You know he got it when you put it down his throat and he swallowed it. You know he got the right amount.
Right. That's 1 cc. How about the hens? Same thing. 1 cc.
Same thing.
Okay.
That's right.
1 cc. Okay, on both of them. 1 cc on the cocks and 1 cc on the hens. So that's some really good information. I mean, because
now, and if they hadn't been done in a while, we keep a pretty good regimen on it.
Mm-hmm.
You do it, say today, 10 days, you come back and do it again.
So tell me this, Tyler. So in 10 days, do y'all guys do that same catch and release thing as far as those pins with that 10 in the feed on the 10? Do y'all just kind of do that same thing, that catch and release thing, get them all swarmed on back in there over a day? With laying the 10 down in the middle of the pen and sprinkling some feed, you'll do the same thing about 10 days later?
That's right.
Okay.
Same thing with the cocks, same thing with the hens.
Same thing with the cocks and same thing with the hens. Okay. And so Tyler, now we're going to go to one other thing that I would like to talk about. So we talked about the biddies, we talked about the breeding, we talked about the feed, we talked about the regimen as far as the vitamins and probiotics. We talked about, putting them out in the pen. And Tyler, I don't know if you can, if today or so, if you can maybe post in the comments, if next time you go out there, if you can take a picture, if you have any, of one of those barrels and put it in a comment, that'd be great. This way, a lot of the people can kind of see exactly what you're talking about visually, and they'll probably want to use it. So that's why I figure if you put a picture in there, I'm pretty sure a lot of guys will want to use it. So, So we got the pins and everything. So the next thing I like to ask, as far as your setup, do you like pins or tie cords, or do y'all guys use both?
Well, we use them both. And we put them in the pins first.
Mm-hmm.
And then, see, like now, I'll send 300 to Mexico.
Okay.
All right. And then before they start coming in, I would say when their tails start getting slick again, about long as your fingers.
Okay.
We'll start putting them out on cords.
Okay.
And we like to have them out on cords, 4 or 5, if you can, 6 months before you start getting in the rotation.
Okay. I got you. So Tyler, tell me something. Is there any reason you prefer cords over pins?
Well, it's, more room would be the first thing that comes to mind. Now, the second thing is it's a lot easier to catch them.
Okay.
If you want to worm them or what feel of them, it's just a lot easier taking care of one on the cord because you can get to him. It's a lot faster, a lot easier to catch him, get to him.
Right.
Stuff like that.
And Tyler, what size cords do y'all guys, what length cords do y'all use?
We use 8 foot.
8 foot, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it takes up a lot of room. Now, you can use, I would say, 6 foot would be an adamant amount.
Mm-hmm.
But we've got, I would say, 65, 70 acres we could put chickens on.
Right.
So we just spread them out.
Got you. And Tyler, with the cords, do you use the rubber cords, nylon cords? What type of cords do y'all guys use?
Well, we used the rubber cords for a long time.
Okay.
Especially when I was growing up. But here in I'd say the last 5 or 6 years, we've went to the material cords.
Okay. Why is that?
Well, the rubber cords, after, say, a year, maybe 2, they started breaking, getting real frail.
Okay.
So we swapped to what I call the material cord.
The material. And what is Tyler, if you can tell us, what type of material is it made out of? Nylon or?
Yeah, it's like a rope.
It's like a rope. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we went
and
to
that was Dad's call.
Okay. He kind of seen it after a while, like we getting, you know, and then the thing is you can have some situations if you have in some cords that start to break down and nobody's there, or like you say, you got 60 acres of birds and way back in that back corner, 300 yards away, you know, you don't know that rubber cord back there is about to break the night before you go to bed.
That's right. And the one thing we do, you know, Junior and Poncho, you know, they work with us.
Okay.
You know, we're a team.
Okay.
But now I'd say once or twice a month, they go through there and check every cord.
Wow. I got you.
Them two boys there go at it as hard as I've ever seen.
I got you.
They do a lot of stuff.
So Tyler, so the next thing I'd like to talk about is your feed. You know, we talked about the bitty feed in the first 3 to 4 months and that kind of stuff. But as far as the older birds on the yard, first, do y'all guys use pre-mixed feed or do y'all mix your own feed? And then we can go into the details of it.
Well, we tried the pre-mixed feeds before, and they wouldn't eat it all. Okay. You know, just certain stuff in there they would not eat.
Right.
So then we tried that for, it wasn't very long, maybe a month.
Okay.
And then we went back to the way we used to do it, and we mix in our own feed now. That's the way we like to do it.
Okay, so Tyler, I don't know if it's a top secret recipe like KFC, you know.
KFC.
But
if we had as much money as KFC, we'd be doing all right.
So listen, man. So with the feed, can you kind of give us an idea of the things that y'all guys use in the feed?
Well, we use whole corn.
Okay.
Laying pellets. And then, especially during the wintertime when there ain't no grass, or we try to plant grass, but, you know, they're not going to have as much as they do now.
Right.
We like to use the rabbit pellets.
Okay.
Oil sunflower seeds.
All right.
And then during the wintertime, we use some wheat.
And why the wheat, Tyler, in the wintertime?
Well, it's almost better than corn at putting meat on them. Okay. You know, it'll keep them good and have plenty of meat on them.
Okay. Okay. So it beefs them up.
Yeah. You know, and that's what, you know, their fat and feathers keep them warm.
That's right.
We'll bump them up a little bit during the wintertime more than we would in the summertime. Now, we're not feeding any wheat.
Got you.
You know, we might put half or a quarter of what we were using.
Got you. So basically, y'all guys don't feed the same thing all year.
No, we may take out one or two things, but that would be about it.
That's about it. So no dramatic changes.
No. Okay. And then when we have them conditioning, it's the same feed.
The same feed. Now tell me this. I see somebody ask, is it red wheat or yellow wheat?
Yellow.
Yellow wheat. Okay. So
what we call it at the feed store is feed wheat.
Feed wheat? Okay.
That's
feed
right.
Wheat. So tell me this. So if somebody want to go, well, I guess that's what, if they're going to feed, so they can just ask for feed wheat, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And you pretty much feed that wheat during the winter months and not the summer months.
That's right.
I got you.
We may feed a little. We start adding it when the feathers start coming back in.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a very important time there in that 3 to 4 month period. And that's where they're going to get their body from for the next year.
For the next year. That's right. That's right.
During that molt.
During that molt. So y'all guys feed wheat during the molt.
Yeah.
I got you. And that's amazing that you said that, because you saying, which I learned, the wheat actually does the body more well than actually feeding them corn in the wintertime. Because I know a lot of guys bump up on the corn during the winter months to add that fat in there, but you saying that wheat actually adds the body to them. So
well, the corn's really good. Now we feed the corn year round.
Okay.
Now, during the summer months, the way we mix it, you'd put 4 laying pellets to 3 corn and 1 of everything else. Say a gallon scoop, if that's what you're using.
Okay.
Now, during the wintertime, the corn and the laying pellets go even. 4 corn, 4 laying pellets, 1 of everything else.
I gotcha.
Just taking some, giving some.
That's right. Just adjusting to the climate and the needs of the climate.
That's right.
But still keeping it simple.
That's right.
That's right. That's it. So I'm assuming y'all guys never feed wet.
Not totally wet, unless we wormed them or we get them some kind of medication where we want to buttermilk them and probiotics and stuff like that. Now, during the summer months, spring when it starts warming up, and I didn't do it today. It's 39 degrees here where I'm at.
Okay.
But we soak oats.
Okay. And how many times do y'all do that?
During the summer we do it, and during the summer and the molt we do it every day.
Every day. Okay.
And that's another good way to get them any kind of vitamins or anything you want to give to them.
Right.
Soak the oats in the vitamins. We use 1 scoop per mixed feed.
That's right.
And then feed it to them.
Wow. So you do that every day. You feed that when it's hot out there. Y'all guys go ahead and feed it every day.
Well, yeah, and it helps them and it keeps moisture going in and out of them.
That's right.
Especially when it's hot. That's
right. So tell me this, and I'm just always amazed when I go to these big old farms and see all these thousands of birds out there. How do y'all guys deal with those water bowls, those water cups? When you got, obviously y'all using a buggy to go around and feed all them things, but do y'all just go out there with hot water and pour it on top of there, or y'all flip them out? Like, how do y'all deal with getting them water when it's freezing cold out there?
Well, that's another, Junior and Poncho thing. They dump them out every day.
Wow.
Now when it's cold and they're not freezing,
right?
They're not solid ice,
right?
If there's no ice in the cups, they may just fill them up that day or something like that.
Right.
But now they're dumped out and washed once a week.
Once a week, okay.
Them boys do. I can help with sometimes when I can. I work, 40 hours a week.
That's right.
But them boys every day, nonstop. Then they wash them once a week.
And once a week.
Like right now, these cups get dumped every day. Every Thursday, they get washed.
Gotcha. So that just brings me to the next point of how extremely important clean water is.
Well, I guess it's a choice.
Okay.
Everybody has a different opinion on what they want to do or what they like. I don't want to drink out of a green, I don't want to go in here and make me a cup of coffee and my cup be green, neither does that rooster. Same thing for us. And it's a pride thing for us.
Right.
Them boys, they take a pride in it.
That's right.
Same thing with the pens. They move them with fresh grass once a week.
Oh, they do, huh? Wow.
Yes, sir. But it's just a choice. Some people say you can leave them in sand or dirt. We prefer grass.
Okay.
And if you'll watch them chickens, like I'll go back off subject a little bit.
Okay.
But during the breeding season, them big brood pens, you can't move them.
Right.
So we keep fresh cabbage in there, and boy, they'll eat it up. If you got 4 or 5 hens and a rooster in there, that cabbage is gone by tomorrow morning.
That's amazing. I learned that over past weekend, and I didn't, that's amazing. So that cabbage is one of the things that y'all feed in them big old brood pens that don't have all that grass.
That's right. We keep cabbage. We done lettuce. Whatever you can get your hands on. And we use sometimes, if we can find it, alfalfa hay. We'll put a little brick in there. They like it.
They love it.
Oh man.
So it looks like we getting along. I mean, this is a ton of great information. And I know it's going to be a lot of comments down there, a lot of questions. So we done went through the feed, summer versus fall. y'all guys mix y'all mix your own feed. Y'all don't do the pre-mix feed. Y'all guys use pins and tie cords. Use an 8-foot tie. And I'm just trying to recap some of this stuff because I know we done had some new people come in, but they can obviously look at the interview all over again. So I want to go back to one thing just to kind of fall back just a little bit. Back to the selection. I forgot to ask you this. Do y'all guys have a preference on eye color?
Well, we would rather them have them deep, dark red eyes, fire red eyes. Mm-hmm. But, if you really like the rooster, he can, a yellow-eyed rooster can see just as good as a red-eyed rooster.
Right.
I believe,
Right.
You got brown eyes, I got green eyes, both of us.
Right.
We can see.
That's
right. But we would rather have a red-eyed brood cock or brood hen.
Red-eye. Okay. So the keep deal, y'all guys keep feed back in the day when it was legal. Y'all guys pretty much fed the same feed that y'all guys are feeding throughout the season. Your grandfather and them fed throughout the season. They continue just using that through the keep, and it has actually worked. But tell me this, Tyler, is it any adjustments, or if it's just pretty much a straight transition over?
Well, there might be minor adjustments. Mm-hmm. Another thing we use in the yard feed is a medium protein, 18-20% protein dog food.
Okay.
Now, we might bump that up a little bit during the keep.
Right.
Go to a different dog food. That's what we've been doing.
That's right.
But minor changes, not a whole lot. And the way we think about it, it's just like when I go to Mexico for a week, mm-hmm. And then you come back home.
Right.
I feel like crap for 2 or 3 days, and it ain't nothing, but you went from eating a whole variety of foods, what you're used to taking, to down there. And I love Mexican food, no problem with it. Right. But when you're just steadily eating it, you feel bad for a couple of days when you get home. And it's the same thing with a rooster.
Yeah, that's right. So tell me this, Tyler. Now that you're saying that, and we're going to talk a little bit about what you have learned from your father and grandfather and stuff about competing in Mexico, back in the day. How would you say, or how did they teach you what they did as far as acclimating the birds to the different weather conditions and climate in Mexico back then?
Well, me and Dad's talked about that a couple of times. Now, one thing that we do a little different at the farm in Mexico, mm-hmm. is we give them a one little shot, and it keeps the snotty nose, mm-hmm. or whatever they might get because of the climate change. Mm-hmm. And a human feels the same way. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I might leave here feeling fine. You get over there 2 or 3 days, it's dry.
Yep.
It's a totally different climate.
Right.
The water's different. The feed's going to be different.
Right.
So we give them that one shot, and then just the same thing we do here. Good. Try to buy the best feeds, clean water, vitamins. Now, we might give them vitamins for the first 3 or 4 days that we get them there.
Okay.
And then do that 2 or 3 days more than I would do it here, mm-hmm. for the first month or two while mm-hmm. they're getting acclimated and all that stuff. Because when they used to send them back over there, they'd bring them through the molt over there.
Oh, they did.
They were, by the time they got feathers back and all that, they were already acclimated, slick feathered.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
So I guess that made a lot of sense.
That made a lot of sense. So since they're already going through that transitional phase, they might as well be in a place where they're going to be staying while they're going through that transitional stage, so they can acclimate to everything, the new feathers, the new body, all of that kind of stuff, all at the same time.
That's right. And that's where, they were, it was hard mm-hmm. to take roosters, say, from here to there. Mm-hmm. And if I was going to do it, mm-hmm. You got about 10 days before, they start that acclimation process. Mm-hmm. So you could show them within 10 to 14 days, I'd say. But after that, you might as well just let them do what they're going to do and come out of it.
Right.
So that's why we always
try to get it on in there.
them.
Back in the day, they used to just try to hurry up and get it on in there because they can't leave them
right.
lingering over there too long.
That's right. So we would, send the stags, bring them through the molt.
Right.
Then the next year they did what they done,
Gotcha. So, and I'm just kind of looking at a couple little questions here. I actually, you answered all of the questions that we had from the people that posted in the comments. This is from a guy, William Combs, out of Kansas, and I think you already answered this question. He said, "What should a person look for when they choosing a bird?" But I guess that all depends on preference, or what's your opinion on that?
Well, it's just really, whoever the selector is, what you like. I might like something different than Dad, or, he might like something different than Bobby. It's just preference, I would say.
Right, just preference. And he also has one other question. He said, what is some advice you would give to somebody new into breeding?
Well, I mean, there's a bunch of things you could tell somebody that was just trying to get into this, get into it. First thing I would do would, with Facebook, Instagram, shows like this going on all the time, is I would try to get informed.
Right.
What I had or what I was trying to purchase or whatever. And, look back, see what the record book says about those chickens. Call guys who may have had those chickens, or, and learn something. You learn something every day.
Right.
But, you want to get as much information on it as possible.
Gotcha. That's exactly right. And you're exactly, that I think, and like you say, looking at and educating yourself before you dive into it, because a lot of common mistakes wouldn't actually be so common, or people wouldn't make them so common if they would educate themselves beforehand. Because we was looking at a post and they were talking about, in the app now, of how guys go out there, they get a whole bunch of birds, but they ain't got the right pen setups, they ain't got the right equipment. You got guys who have no medicine or medication on hand, and they get all these birds, and then they getting sick. Now they trying to go out here and educate themselves after the fact. And some of that stuff that they get, you got about 1 or 2 days before they done. Like if you don't medicate them within 1 or 2 days, you ain't got time to be shipping stuff and Googling stuff and all that. I mean, you got a couple days and some of that stuff will be dead. So I guess the education thing is a great aspect of it, because it's stuff like this that you can learn, saying, hey, these are the staple products you probably need to have on hand if you're going to be a chicken breeder. You need to have maybe this type of vitamin or this type of antibiotic or something like that, because there's certain things that you can encounter with, if you're having 5 or 10 birds, that you're not going to be able to have the luxury of ordering something and waiting for 4 or 5 days for it to get there.
That's right. And that's one thing that we do. I keep plenty of medicine on hand just in case anything was to, because you're going to have one every once in a while. Everybody will get a snotty nose.
Right.
Something like that.
That's right.
But it's always good to have stuff on hand.
Right, exactly. I mean, I totally agree, but it goes back to, like you said, just kind of educating yourself and getting informed prior to. Do you think, and I want to go back to the selection thing, because like I say, you got a reputation of being a very good selector. Do you think selection is something that somebody can learn through experience or be taught, or do you think it's more like a gift or a talent?
Well, I would say I was taught.
Okay.
Now I may vary a little bit from, say, what Dad likes. But, if you sit back, and I was lucky, I was very fortunate coming up, with somebody who's done it since he was a teenager.
Right.
And, he had 30 years experience in it before I ever come along.
Right.
I was taught how to do it.
Wow.
Now, and people like what they like.
Right.
But like me, you sit back and watch Dad and Bobby. They've been successful for so long, careful selection, this and that. So I look for the same traits, I would say, as Dad and Bobby.
Gotcha.
And some people don't have that luxury.
Right. That's right.
I would say I was very lucky to have those two, like mentors, I guess you would call them.
That's right.
But you can take experience,
mm-hmm.
Try something new, or something like that. That would be a good kickback. But one thing, especially with guys just getting in it, if you try something, it may take you 4 or 5 years to get to where you can really show or compete.
Right.
If something don't work, don't get disheartened and quit.
That's right.
It sucks.
Right.
I've done it before. Everybody's made a mistake, or not really a mistake, something you might should have worked that didn't.
Mm-hmm.
You can't get disheartened in it. That should make you want to try harder.
That's right.
One more thing with the breeding program, this is where some people, might make a mistake or they might not, is, I might be doing good right now.
Okay.
But you can't live in the now.
Right.
You need to be breeding, selecting, preparing for 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road. You got to always have that in the back of your head. If you still want to be competing and be competitive, what am I doing now to make me still be competitive 5 years from now?
5 years from now. That's exactly.
Or 10 years from now, or
Right. That's right. That's
it's a process. It's not okay. Well, I've won 5 derbies this year. I'm doing pretty good.
Right.
So what am I going to do for 2 years? I might win 10.
Right. That's
what I mean? You always got to have that. Always thinking about it.
Always thinking about it. That's exactly right. And I think sometimes guys can fall in love with their own success too early, and they don't prepare because they just get too comfortable and complacent, and they figure, hey, I'm good. I'm doing it. I'm doing my thing. Nobody can't tell them anything. They think the formula is right, but it's always somebody trying to outwork you. It's always somebody trying to outwork you because, it's being a breeder. There's a lot of other breeders that's very, very competitive, and nobody want to be outdone, and nobody want to be outdone. And like they say, sometimes your idols become your rivals, and it doesn't mean they're your enemy, but they're your rivals. At once he was my idol, but now I want to whoop him. I want to be able to breed a better conformation looking bird than this guy. This guy is, he's showing the best out there, and I want to do the same thing or better. But that's exactly right. And it's not something that, and I was telling one guy, if somebody looked at you as an idol and now they feel like they're your rival, don't get angry or have resentment, against anything like that, because, being competitive, you're going to always want to at least be your best. And a lot of times we look at things and people who are winning, we feel as though we can do the same thing that they can do. And a lot of times we can. So
that's right.
So I just think, I really want to thank you, for coming on the show, because I think it's very important that not only younger guys, but new guys into breeding, hear things straight from the horse's mouth. Social media and stuff like that is good, but it's a lot of bad regurgitated information. I mean, a ton of bad regurgitated information. It's a lot of information out there that guys put out there that they ain't never tried. They just heard it from somebody else, or they read it from another place. That's why I call it regurgitated, because it ain't from experience. So I think it's extremely important for guys like yourself, the guests that we had on prior to, for people to hear this stuff from the horse's mouth, guys that's doing it, guys that's not rich, and, all those excuses a lot of guys use of why they're not successful. And it's like, nah, that's not the reason. Maybe you need to go back to the drawing board. Maybe you need to look at your breeding program. Maybe you need to look at your feeding program. And there's a lot of things you need to look at that have nothing to do with money.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think that's bringing guys like yourself on. They understand that it's hard work, just hard work. I mean, it's a lot of hard work, and also having access to great information, because you can be working hard, but if you're working with the wrong information, you ain't going to be going nowhere.
That's right. And see, that's where I was so lucky coming up, was with Dad and Bobby, and, you learn.
That's
Sit
right.
back, watch, and learn. And a lot of people, and it's another thing Dad's taught me. If you'll sit back and listen, just sit back and listen. You'll learn more than you will sitting there running your mouth.
That's right. That's right.
You know, that's a lot of times I don't talk very much. You know, I'm just sitting there listening. I want to hear what they have to say. You know, I might ask a question here and there.
That's right.
But a lot of it is listening and paying attention. And, you know, just because this guy's got $5 million in the bank, don't mean he's got better roosters than I do.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Or
that's right.
Better roosters than the next guy.
That's right.
You just have to learn, prepare, and it's hard work.
Right.
Especially Junior and Poncho Dad. You know, they put in probably more than 40 hours a week with them.
That's right.
You know, made me a cup of coffee. I just had come in.
Right. That's right.
It's 8:05 on a Friday, you know?
Right. Exactly.
But it's a lot of hard work, and it's hard work and dedication to what you're doing.
That's right.
You know, you have to have a plan, no improvise on it, work hard, and execute your plan. And that's, I think, one thing that we do we do on a consistent basis.
Right.
You know.
Right. So, you know, so Tyler, what I wanted to ask you also, and I think, you know, you can't really ask this to a whole lot of people because they don't come from a family of breeders like yourself that has had so much success. Do you ever feel the pressure of maintaining that standard, that legacy that the people before you and your family have already set? Because they set a pretty high bar now. But you're doing you doing well. But I tell you what, man, them Easterling, that name rings some bells, brother. I'm telling all of y'all, that name rings some bells. It's a
high bar to live up to. I can tell you.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I feel it's pressure every day. You know, and that's why you sit back, watch, listen, see what they're doing. You know, you might Dad might see something that I don't see because he's got the experience.
Right.
And, you know, when you get that age or I get that age, I want to have that experience.
Right.
I've got a nephew.
Right.
3 years old. You know, I want to be able to do him like Dad done me.
That's right.
You know, so yeah, it's a bunch of pressure and it's a high bar to live up to. I mean, it's up there, you know.
Hey, that's one of the things that some people don't realize. They might envy you for the fact that you coming from a dynasty now. You coming from a long list of legends and living legends. They ain't gone away. I mean, they still alive. So it ain't like saying, "Oh, my uncle be rolling over in the grave." Now he's still alive now. So if you ain't if you ain't performing now, he gonna be able to let you know. It ain't no he be rolling in the grave, Tyler. If he see
That's right.
Yeah. So
and you know, people that's not in the sport or hadn't been around the sport,
right,
wouldn't understand it.
That's right. That's right.
You know, but people within the sport, you know, they understand I think about it every day.
That's right.
You know, people hunt, people fish, people do this and that. You know, it's whatever you want to do. You know, it's like free country. But, you know, this is what we do. And when you raised up in it, brought up into it.
That's right.
Dad and Bobby's been lucky enough to have some success.
Right.
You know, it's a high bar to live up to.
That's right. And I that's a question I wanted to ask you. Because like I said, I think it's it's an extremely important and serious question, but I just wanted to see your reply to that, man, because I can tell you right now, people don't understand, you know, I know a lot of people that come from very successful business families, and man, a lot of times they be depressed because it's like, dude, this is killing me. You know, I mean, it's like, I can't really never get as good as they think I should get because the bar was set so high, they work themselves to death. I mean, and to the fact, some of them is not even, you know, even entertaining anymore. Cause it's just like, you know, it's like, man, you get so stressed out. Like, man, I just did 5, but he did 7 when he was my age. Or I just did 10. He had already did 22 by my age. You just like, dude.
Well, one thing is you can't let it get to you.
Right.
And you know, this sport, it's about making friends, having a good time.
That's right.
And when it gets to where you can't have a good time, there ain't no reason in doing it. And that's with anything, hunting, fishing.
That's right.
Playing with these chickens.
That's right.
You know, I enjoy it every day of it, even if we're scraping shit down there in the beady barn. You know, I enjoy every second of it.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Hey guys, listen, we've been on this phone over an hour. It's probably, I'm looking at it now, it's probably been about an hour and a half. But what I want to do, and Tyler, I know you already know about the app, the Journey to the Pit app. And the reason why I created that app to kind of give us up-to-date access and up-to-date information on what's going on, and for us to be able to communicate and talk chickens and chickens only. No politics, no religion, no trash, no ads and all that, you know, trash stuff. Because what I was finding out was when I post these events, you know, on Monday, I used to try to post them on Monday for Friday to give it a whole week, because Facebook was taking sometimes 4 or 5 days to show the event to some of the people. So with the app, as soon as I post it inside the app, it goes to everybody that's on the app. So everybody instantly can get all the updates. And then also too, you know, with a thread like I had already created for you, with the interview, they can go inside that topic and post questions, and you can get to them when you get to them. You know, we know you work a job, you got a farm, you know, you can't operate on your phone all the time. But it's just another way for the viewers that's watching, and I'll post it also in the comments, the app, which I already posted it anyway. But just to let y'all guys know, I'm going to be posting. It's called Team App. You can go inside your go inside your app store, and once you go inside your app store, you download the Team app, you know, and register, and then you can it ain't nothing but name and an email address or something like that. And then once you do that, you'll go ahead, and here it is right here. This is what you're going to search for, and this is what you're going to find. This way, guys, y'all can get on this app. This is our app. It ain't nothing with Facebook censoring it or anything like that. You can get on this app, and this app is only for us. You know, it's all just talking game fowl, chicken talk, and that's pretty much it. So I just kind of wanted to put that out there. But Tyler, man, I greatly appreciate you coming on the show. We've been talking, well, probably about an hour and a half, because I set the timer for an hour after we had been talking 30 minutes. I forgot all about to set the timer, over here. But like I say, man, it's some other stuff that we wanted to talk about. But I'll ask you, like I have asked everybody else prior to, if later in the future, if you would, you know, do us all a favor and come back on the show so we can do part 2 of this interview, I would greatly appreciate it. I'm pretty sure the viewers will also really appreciate it. So like I say, it's going to be a lot of questions in the comments. If you can get to them over the next couple of days, we would appreciate that. And then also it will be some questions that a lot of guys will be posting inside the app, because since we've been on, I have been getting a lot of notifications in the app that guys are already, you know, joining in on it. So if you can get to it whenever you can, we know you work, you got a farm and all that, we would greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much for coming on again. It's been a pleasure. You gave out a lot of great information. A lot of these guys, it was a pleasure. They talked about you. They really wanted to see you. They sent me a lot of messages about it. So again, I'd like to thank you for coming on tonight. Hopefully, well, I'll see you soon. That's not a problem. I'll definitely see you soon. But I'll talk to you in these comments. Hey, man, and keep it tough, man, because you're doing an excellent job. But I know that bar, you still reaching now. You know, your dad and your uncles and all that, they said it, man. You
yeah, they put it way up there.
But
they couldn't have been no harder on me.
Tyler, man, I greatly appreciate it, man. You have a good night. Guys, like I always end the interviews always on the same note. Always stay focused, stay positive, and stay blessed. And we'll see you next Friday at 9 p.m. on the greatest show on earth, Journey to the Pit. I'll see y'all guys soon. Thanks a lot.
All right, man.
Peace.
We appreciate it from
Thank
everybody.
You.
Team Swiftcreek. Thank you.
Bye-bye.